Good evening to you all, or good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. How are you? Happy New Year. Today is New Year's Eve, December 31, 2023, Saturday here in West Coast, United States. Okay, I hope everyone is doing well and having fun with your uh, friends and families, okay, especially your families. All right, family first. And as always, we are talking again about boxing, okay, supremacy, legacy, career. And as the year goes to end tonight, December 31, and we are going to review, we are going to check, we are going to analyze and evaluate those fighters, boxers, to be considered as Fighter of the Year or Boxer of the Year 2023. Please join me and feel free to ask questions right down below in the comment, and we'll try our best to answer your questions when it comes to boxing. Alright? Boxing 101. Alright. So, as the title says, uh, The Ring, okay, The Ring Magazine, the Bible of Boxing, Fighter of the Year 2023. Though the Ring Magazine publications, it was, okay, first backgrounder. The Ring Magazine is the first, okay, boxing publications that was established way back 1922, okay? And since then, 1922, the Ring Magazine issued or publications, the post some of the great fighters, boxers. During those days, there's no MMA back then. Only professional, okay? We are talking about professional MMA. So, only boxing. The only combat sports that is being licensed as profession was and always boxing, okay, that time. So the biggest event that time, not basketball, not volleyball, not football, not baseball, but boxing. Okay? Even before World War I, even before World War II, it was boxing. And I was still believe that boxing is the number one sport, though a lot of people would consider soccer, soccer, number one sport, especially in Europe. But worldwide, it will always be boxing. Okay, so as the poster issued and published by the Ring Magazine, they named four, okay, out of those many nominees, okay, for Fighter of the Year. One is NAOYA INOUE, other one is Terence Crawford, and then Devin Haney and Gervonta Tank Davis. Also, we can uh, put also the names of David Benavidez, okay, and Canelo Alvarez. And then we'll try to dissect, in-depth, analyze, and evaluate their um, accomplishment this year, 2023. Okay? So first, we talk first about a Canelo Alvarez. Okay? Before that, when we are talking about pound for pound great or number one fighter in the world, there is a caveat there. We are not just talking about talent and skills. Okay, remember that. When we are talking about pound for pound greatest, okay, pound for pound fighter, it's not about talent and skills. Not only that, no. Put that in your mind. We are not only talking about talent and skills. We are not only talking about their accomplishment and skills, but also the money side, which is he a crowd pleaser? Is that fighter or boxer able to gather people to watch him? That's the caveat of being pound for pound the best in the world, a crowd pleaser. A pound for pound fighter should not be a boring. There is only one person that is boring that become a pound for pound fighter. And many of those American boxing writers, American boxing, or let me say, let me rephrase it, Western boxing writers or Westerners, boxing historians, considered this Floyd Mayweather uh, is a pound for pound number one, when then Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones Jr. Lost their previous fights. That's why he was elevated to number one. We will discuss that on a later or on a different live. Okay? We will discuss all this pound for pound number one since, let's say, since 1999. 1999 in 2000, 1999, 2000, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 2010, 11, 12, 2020. So we will discuss that thing. Okay. So first, Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez did 2 fights this year, and he did pretty well. Against John Ryder, he won a unanimous decision, okay? And it was held in his hometown in Mexico, okay? Second one, he fought and beat Germán Charlo, okay? That's a good one, okay? That's a good result, okay? Both via unanimous decision. That is for Canelo Alvarez. For against John Ryder, it was a non-title fight. Against Germán Charlo, it was for the undisputed. He defended his undisputed titles, super middleweight. Okay. Now next for David Benavidez. Okay. So David Benavidez fought twice. Okay. And he beat them both. First against Caleb Plant. And it was a title fight for WBC interim. Okay, interim. 168 pounds. Because the full champion is Canelo. And he did pretty well. He did a good job. Won via unanimous decision against a very smart and talented Caleb Plant. Now, the second fight of David Benavidez was against Demetrius Andrade, undefeated champion. He moved up to 168 from 160, and David Benavidez beat him, okay, convincingly via stoppage, okay, via TKO. So it was a very good win, okay. So if I compare Canelo Alvarez and David Benavidez, between the two, David Benavidez is ahead due to the result of the fight. Okay. Now let's move on to Gervonta Tank Davis. Okay, Tank Davis. He fought twice. Okay, and he won both of those and via knockouts. Okay, but the other one was against a Oscar Garcia via knockout, and it was a for the regular WBA, okay, title, 140 pounds WBA regular. All right, and then his next fight was against Ryan Garcia, and that fight is not a title fight. It was it was a catch weight, 136 pounds. Why not make it as 135? Why make it 136? And that fight has a rehydration clause. Aside from it was a catchweight fight, it has a rehydration clause. Alright? So that was the uh, for Gervonta Tank Davis. Two fights, two wins, two by knockouts. One non-title fight, a catchweight fight with the rehydration clause, and the other fight was for a title fight, okay, against a non-rated fighter, non-rated at all. Now, let's move on to Devin Haney. Okay, Devin Haney did very good, pretty well this year. He fought twice this year. First, against a Ukrainian gold medalist, two-time gold medalist, a Vasily Lomachenko. Okay, Vasily Lomachenko was a, I would say the number one uh, talented, skilled fighter, and I would rank him above Floyd Mayweather when it comes to skills, when it comes to talent. Imagine that, two gold medals in the Olympics. But with his fight against Devin Haney, it was a disputed, it was a very controversial fight. And me, as an analyze and evaluate boxing for decades already, and I would still believe that Lomachenko beat Haney. So the win of Devin Haney against Lomachenko to me is questionable. A big, not just a, it's a big questionable with asterisk on top of it. But by the books, according to the books, as the official says, the official score, uh, Devin Haney beat Lomachenko via split decision, rather, split decision. Okay? Next fight of Devin Haney was against Prograis. Now, that's credit, give credit to uh, Devin Haney. He beat Prograis from round 1 to round 12. And I scored it 120, 120-107 because he scored one knockdown. So 120-107, all in favor to Devin Haney. And Devin Haney is now a two-division champion, undisputed at 135, WBC champ at 140. So if I'm comparing this from Canelo Alvarez, David Benavidez, and Devin Haney, I would give it to David Benavidez. Why? Because David Benavidez has a stoppage, has a knockout win against an undefeated. David Benavidez beat an undefeated Demetrius Andrade, Demetrius Andrade is a skilled and a talented pure boxer, not a robot, not just a one-dimensional. No, Demetrius Andrade is not a one-dimensional boxer. He's a pure defensive boxer, talented, skilled fighter, Demetrius Andrade, and a wide unanimous decision win of David Benavidez against Caleb Plant. If he just stopped or knocked out or technical knockout of Caleb Plant, now that will be a big uh, competition against Naoya Inoue. Okay? So, Canelo Alvarez, David Benavidez, Devin Haney. Now, we'll go to, at Gervonta Tank Davis also. Now, we'll go to Terence Bud Crawford. Terence Bud Crawford, as the American boxing writers or the Westerners, boxing historians, considered him as an all-time great already. Okay, they considered him. But for me, I doubt it. I doubt it. Okay, not because due to Errol Spence, because if I dissect it, analyze it very in depth, the only great fighter that um, Terence Crawford beat is Errol Spence. But who was Errol Spence before the fight? Who was he? Was he a physically and mentally um, fit? Just because the medical officer of the Nevada State Athletic Commission gave him this medical go signal, medical certificate that, okay, Mr. Errol Spence, you are fit to fight, you're good. We have to remember that Errol Spence, before that fight, he was already physically and mentally broken due to that fatal car crash, car accident. Remember, he was in the hospital for months. Okay? As in almost comatose already. And then we have to remember that Errol Spence was supposed to fight the great Manny Pacquiao. And what he did, he canceled it because of his detached retina. You know, the eye injury of uh, Errol Spence. His excuses was during he got injured his eye due to sparring partners in preparation for a Pacquiao fight. What does that mean right now? It does mean that Errol Spence Jr. prior to his fight against Terence Crawford, he was not 100% mentally and physically fit to fight against that level, especially Terence Crawford. Not because he is a three-time welterweight champion, he is already a all-time great. But that's my question to the American boxing writers, to the Western boxing historians. What are your categories to consider Mr. Errol Spence Jr. to be an all-time great for that three-time welterweight champion? I have right away in my mind, Antonio Margarito. Antonio Margarito, the Tijuana Tornado. He was back then a three-time welterweight champion. Three-time welterweight champion. But he is not an all-time great. Even, let's say, top 25 of welterweights. Welterweight greats. Okay. So, now for Terence Crawford, that's the only result of his 2023. Only one fight last July. That's the big question for Terence Crawford. If that's the only offer you can bring to say, hey, Ring Magazine, this is me, Mr. Terence Crawford. I must be the 2023 Fighter of the Year because I beat Errol Spence. Errol Spence only. Really? Who is Errol Spence, by the way? Okay. Is Errol Spence even greater than Nonito Donaire Jr.? If we check NAOYA INOUE, one of the greatest win or name of his resume is the great Nonito Donaire Jr. A surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. No doubt, 4 division champion. Okay, 4 division champion. Being a fighter of the year, knockout of the year. That's one of the name that Naoya Inoue has in his resume. Plus, Stephen Fulton. Okay? So, now let's go to Naoya Inoue. Naoya Inoue did 2 fights this year. Last July against the undefeated, skilled. Okay, remember this. Not just undefeated, but Stephen Fulton. Cool boy. Stephen Fulton is a skilled, is a talented, 122 pounds, pure boxer, a defensive boxer. and he was the number one at that weight. Stephen Fulton was the number one at 122 pounds. Okay, unified champion, undefeated champion, talented and highly skilled. Stephen Fulton. Okay, remember that. Number one in the 122 pounds. And Naoya Inoue knocked him out. Okay, he knocked him out. Stephen Fulton. That's a big accomplishment. That's one. Okay, for Naoya Inoue. Now, last December 26, during Boxing Day, Naoya Inoue fought and beat Marlon Tapales, the nightmare from the Philippines. A very defensive wizard boxer. Okay, not a robot. Marlon Tapales, give credit to him. He fought well, he prepared well, and he did not back it up. He really fight with his heart, okay? Very defensive, okay? With a sneaky uppercut. You have to give credit where credit is due. Marlon Tapales did not go there just to earn money, no. He prepared well, mentally, physically. He prepared well. And he is not a robot. Marlon Tapales is not a robot. He is skilled. I would say he is a defensive boxer above Casimero when it comes to defense. His Philly shell defense is good for Marlon Tapales. And his sneaky uppercut, not just the lead uppercut. He is a southpaw, right? So his lead foot is right. His lead hand is right. Marlon Tapales is a good, sneaky lead uppercut, not just the rear uppercut, which is the left hand. Okay? For Marlon Tapales, a southpaw, his lead uppercut is his right. His rear uppercut is his left. But it's a sneaky one. Sneaky. And good for Marlon Tapales. And he did well against Naoya Inoue. Naoya Inoue got hit. Okay? We saw that. Especially the uppercut. The sneaky uppercut. And I like it. I like the sneaky uppercut of Marlon Tapales. And he gave some trouble. Okay? He make the fight hard for Naoya Inoue. He did not go there just to give the belt. No. Marlon Tapales give his very best. Best of the best of Marlon. And I would say this, that was the very best of Marlon Tapales, of his entire professional fights, from his professional debut until last December 26. That was the very best fight out of Marlon Tapales. And I give him that credit to Marlon Tapales. He prepared well. He trained well. Mentally and physically 100% ready. And he gave it all. He gave it all. He really gave it all. Okay? That's why it takes a lot of time for Naoya Inoue to move and find that hole. Okay? How to decode the style of Marlon Tapales. Okay, if that Marlon Tapales showed next fight against, let's say, rematch against Murodjun Akhmadaliev, I would say he will beat Akhmadaliev by a unanimous. No more disputed, no more close. I don't like that controversial. I want a dominant fight. I want a very clear, obvious win. Not a controversial one. Example, the Devin Haney against Lomachenko. It was a disputed. And a lot of people, not just boxing fanatics, but a lot of boxing writers and boxing historians around the world are questioning how Devin Haney beat Lomachenko. Because me, I scored that fight and I give 115-113 Lomachenko. All unanimous. That's the very least that I can give. Okay? If I am generous, I can give it to 116-114 Lomachenko. But there is no way Devin Haney win even a 115, 113. There's no way. Devin Haney lost that fight against Lomachenko. But the official score, as we always follow, the official books, the record books says Devin Haney won via split decision, not unanimous, not unanimous. So we just follow. It is what it is. It makes us sad, but it is what it is. We have to follow. Okay. And one obvious reason for not fighting again, they should do a rematch. But Devin Haney doesn't want, there's no intent for him to give a rematch to Lomachenko because he doubted himself. Aside from he is a weight bully, which is now it's big for him, it's nice for him, credit to Devin Haney that he moves up, not to be like a weight bully as Terence, Errol Spence Jr. was doing. Errol Spence Jr. is another weight bully. From his professional debut, 147 pounds, until last July of 2023, 147 pounds. At his height and length, reach and height, at Errol Spence is a weight bully. And there's a lot, I can give a lot of names. Those are weight bully fighters. So with that being said, Naoya Inoue has 2 fights, 2 wins via knockouts, very dominant. What else? In a quick one, okay? No flash knockout, remember this, okay? When we compare those knockouts of Naoya Inoue against Stephen Fulton and against Marlon Tapales, let's say compare it to Marquez versus Pacquiao 4. Yes, Juan Manuel Marquez knocked out cold, okay, cold as in like dead Pacquiao in round number 6. But it was a Hail Mary, one punch, not even a dominating, okay? If we are going to follow boxing decades ago, Pacquiao Marquez 4, it was Pacquiao who dominates the fight. And before the start of the bell of round 6, Pacquiao already of the 3 judges, he was already ahead of points of all these 3 judges. He dominates the fight already. Now, because give credit where credit is due, Marquez is an excellent counter puncher. He studied very well after the 3 previous 36 rounds with Pacquiao, and he said, "Oh, this is it. The moment you come in less than 8 seconds, I will give this one Hail Mary, straight, right straight, and then down goes Pacquiao." Okay, but when we compare it to Naoya Inoue against Stephen Fulton and Naoya Inoue against Marlon Tapales, we can already see from round 1 that the level between those two, Inoue and Stephen Fulton, Inoue and Marlon Tapales, that Naoya Inoue is way above them. Compare it to Pacquiao and Marquez. Okay, we'll go example again, Pacquiao versus Marquez, because they are almost as thin as hair. Their level, they can fight 10 times and the result will be controversial. I will say this again. Pacquiao versus Marquez, even if they will fight 5th fight, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the result will be as close as it goes. Because, how to say it? I do not know the name, the exact word. They are really at the same when it comes to fighting, because Juan Manuel Marquez is a warrior enough, not just warrior enough. He is so brave that he is willing to accept to receive 10 punches for him to throw that Hail Mary or big counter, excellent counter punch to knock out Pacquiao. That's how, there you go, perfect match. Marquez versus Pacquiao is a perfect match, and they can fight 10 times and the result will be the same. Though even though the first fight was a controversial, especially during the round 1, the referee, Judge Bert Clements, scored it 10-6, 10-7, it should be 10-6. But as the rounds goes, it was very close, and we can really score it that Marquez is winning the fight. Because Marquez is an excellent counter puncher. There is no doubt, 100% and beyond. And give credit to Juan Manuel Marquez for giving his all to give that very best out of Pacquiao. And that makes Pacquiao evolve, okay? From that knockout loss against Marquez, now Manny Pacquiao applies as a counter puncher. The moment when he fought, right after the knockout 13, he fought Brandon Rios. Okay, remember that. And against Brandon Rios, he was not as wild as previous fights. Okay, then Brandon Rios, and then he fought Bradley, and then after Bradley, he fought Algieri, and then after Algieri, Mayweather, 2015, Mayweather. So Pacquiao from, in Tagalog, Barabara, he became a thinking fighter. He became a counter puncher. Okay? So yeah, and also now, from all these names that I've mentioned, Terence Crawford, Devin Haney, Tank Davis, David Benavidez, and Canelo Alvarez, most of the boxing historians and boxing writers around the world, they are competing. They want to tell the people, especially those boxing fans, that Terence Crawford has this almost competing level with NAOYA INOUE when it comes to Knockout of the Year award. Pardon me. Fighter of the Year. Okay? I'm sorry. Fighter of the Year. It should not be that even close. I will say it again. It's not even close. NAOYA INOUE is clearly, obviously, universal consensus that he is way ahead of Terence Bud Crawford when it comes to Fighter of the Year. That Errol Spence name is just a I would say he's overrated. Actually, Errol Spence Jr., if you study his style, he's a skilled version of Antonio Margarito. Errol Spence Jr. is a skilled version or a talented version of Antonio Tijuana Margarito. He is a flat-footed ever since. You study his style from his pro debut, from his first professional bout to the very last July. Always in the front. Errol Spence Jr. is always in the front. No footwork, always in the front. No lateral movement. There's no in and out. There's no even head movement. If he has less head movement, that's Errol Spence Jr. He is just a pressure fighter with no footwork. That's Errol Spence Jr. If he is a body snatcher, Antonio Margarito is a body snatcher as well. So the American boxing writers or the Westerners boxing historians just overrate Errol Spence Jr. Alright? So, what else? Now we go to the knockout ratio, okay? If you don't know yet, NAOYA INOUE, for now, currently, has the highest knockout ratio, the highest knockout percentage in a world title fights, okay? Remember this word, world title fights. Because if you remember, George Foreman is one of the highest knockout ratio, okay? George Foreman. Okay, who else? Lucas Matisse. Lucas Matisse back then, he was one of the highest knockout ratio. And the late Edwin Valero, from which country Edwin Valero? Panama? I forgot. So Edwin Valero, I believe he has 22 wins, 22 fights, 22 wins, and 22 by knockouts. But you have to remember, how many world title fights on that 22 fights? How many world title fights? Okay? Remember that word, world title fights. Now, currently, we have this Artur Beterbiev. Okay? Artur Beterbiev is a unified WBC, IBF, WBO, light heavyweight, 175 pounds. And his ring record is, I don't want to be mistaken. Wow, 21 wins? 21 wins, 19 knockouts? Something like that, okay? But, here's the but, okay? Remember this. Here's the but, the caveat. Is it all world title fights? Yes, he is undefeated. He has a lot of knockouts, but it's not world title fights. Only very few world title fights. Okay? You have to remember that. Another one. Who is this? Another knockout artist. Artur Beterbiev. Oh. Oh yeah. Gervonta Tank Davis. Tank Davis is a knockout artist as well. Okay? Undefeated, right? I forgot his numbers, figures. So, but are those world title fights? All those knockout wins? World title fights? The answer is no. No. Now, let me think, who are these knockout artists? Artur Beterbiev. Wow, I almost forgot. Tank Davis. So, okay, for Naoya Inoue, in the history of boxing, okay, in the history of boxing, and this is for the record, okay, for the record, today is December 31, 2023, 5 o'clock in the evening, okay, that in the history of boxing, the highest knockout ratio holder in a world title fights, again, remember these words, world title fights, is Naoya Inoue, the monster of Japan. He has 21 wins, okay? 21 wins, world title fights, remember this, only world title fights, 21 wins in world title fights, and 19 of those, 19, 1-9, are knockouts. 21 wins, world title fights, 19 of those are knockouts. That's the highest in the boxing history. You include George Foreman, who are Joe Louis. These names are heavyweights. George Foreman is one of the knockout artists in the history of boxing. Joe Louis, one of the big punchers in the heavyweights in the history of boxing during 1930s, 30s and 20s. Because when Joe Louis knocks out Max Schmeling 1939, that is their rematch already. And that was one of the that has three: action, drama, and historical significance. When Joe Louis knocks out Max Schmeling, okay, 1939, before World War II. Okay, so one of the heavy punchers in history. Now, Naoya Inoue, compare it to Naoya Inoue has 84%. No. Pardon me. 88.46% knockout ratio. Okay? While Terence Crawford has 77.75%. 77.5 rather. 77.5% knockout ratio. So 88% for Naoya Inoue, 88% knockout ratio, 77% Terence Crawford knockout ratio. In a world title fights, we are talking here world title fights, okay? World title fights. That's the knockout ratio comparing to them. So, with that being said, with all these names, Canelo Alvarez, David Benavidez, Gervonta Tank Davis, Devin Haney, Terence Crawford, and NAOYA INOUE. Which of those, or who among those, deserve worthy to be named and awarded as the Fighter of the Year 2023? You can write down below. Or you can also ask questions, okay? Ask questions if you want to about boxing, okay? This is Boxing 101. Alright, and yes, on January 1st, tomorrow, no, Monday. Yeah, tomorrow, Monday. Today is Sunday. Yeah, pardon me earlier. Today is Sunday. Oh my God. So tomorrow, Monday, January 1st, a New Year, the Sports Illustrated will announce their official Fighter of the Year award and their pound for pound #1 award. Same with Ring Magazine tomorrow, January 1st. Will be the official announcement of the Fighter of the Year award. Okay, the Ring Magazine and also the Sports Illustrated. Those magazine uh, publications are worldwide well-known, legitimate boxing publications. And a lot of boxing enthusiasts, boxing fanatics, fight fans, or fight enthusiasts are reading those books, okay, publications. All right? And maybe on my next live, we will discuss those history of the pound for pound #1 fighters. Maybe from 1999, okay, when Felix Tito Trinidad beat the gold medalist Oscar De La Hoya. Okay, when they fought for the lineal and the ring welterweight. Back then, De La Hoya was the WBC welterweight champion, and Trinidad was the IBF welterweight champion. And both of them were undefeated, and they are fighting for the lineal and the ring welterweight. So from there on, it was Felix Trinidad, the #1 pound for pound, and we will discuss down the road until 2023 those fighter pound for pound #1. Okay, and maybe I can give you a short discussion that when we are going to analyze it and check it, there is only two Asian names that was being named or called or awarded as pound for pound #1 fighter. Manny Pacquiao from the Philippines and Triple G, Gennady Golovkin from Kazakhstan. Manny Pacquiao did from 2008, 9, 10, 11, okay, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, until June of 2012 when Bradley controversially outpointed him or outscored him during June of 2012. Okay? So the #1 pound for pound status of Pacquiao was dislodged. And Floyd Mayweather came back from retirement. He overtakes Pacquiao. And then Pacquiao became pound for pound number 1 last June of 2008 due to the retirement of Floyd Mayweather. So meaning it is by default, okay, by default. Kazakhstan's boxing great Gennady Golovkin, Triple G, became a pound for pound number 1 because some of his predecessor, okay, uh, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez was then the number 1, and he got lost by a knockout from a Thai world champion Sorong Visay. So Chocolatito Gonzalez down from pound for pound number 1 goes down, and now Benavidez Golovkin from number 2 became number 1 by default again, by default. And maybe tomorrow, January 1st or January 2nd, I will make a live video about that, specifically about pound for pound number 1 from 1999 down goes to now. If I can make a rundown, okay? 1999, of course, how to say it? Felix Tito Trinidad, and then Sugar Shane Mosley, 2000, 2001, Sugar Shane Mosley, 2002, Bernard Hopkins, 2003, Roy Jones Jr., 2004, Bernard Hopkins, 2005 to 2007, Floyd Mayweather Jr., 2008 to 2011, Manny Pacquiao, 2012 to 2015, Floyd Mayweather Jr., and then September of that year, September of 2015, because upon the retirement of, again, Floyd Mayweather Jr., Chocolatito Gonzalez, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, by default became the number 1 pound for pound. And then, when he got lost by a knockout against Sorong Visay, he goes down. So, Gennady Golovkin from number 2 moves up to number 1 by default. By default, so Golovkin, 2017, and then 2018, Golovkin lost controversially against Canelo. Then, Canelo Alvarez moves up. But, because of that thing, there is a name, Vasily Lomachenko of Ukraine, a 2-time gold medalist. He became the 2018 number 1 pound for pound. Okay? So from Chocolatito, 2016, then Golovkin, 2017, and then 2018 is Lomachenko. Okay? And then from there on, 2019, Canelo Alvarez, 19, 20, Canelo Alvarez, 2021, Canelo Alvarez, 2022, because September of 2022, Canelo Alvarez lost to Dimitri Bivol. So Canelo Alvarez moves down, and then by default, Terence Crawford become the number 1. Become the number 1, Terence Crawford. Okay, in the that September, October, November, December pound for pound number 1 listing. Okay, and then 2023, Terence Crawford, but the Ring Magazine, if you remember, July of 20, I don't have the calendar already. I would say that was Tuesday when NAOYA INOUE beat Stephen Fulton. The Ring Magazine already posted and officially announced, published, that the number 1 pound for pound is NAOYA INOUE. Even if whatever the result of Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford that Saturday, because they fought it the same week. Remember? NAOYA INOUE versus Stephen Fulton, like Tuesday. Fat Tuesday, Japan time, Japan day. And then, that Saturday, Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford, the same week. So, for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So, for 4 days, NAOYA INOUE was then the number 1 pound for pound by the Ring Magazine. But other websites already consider him as the pound for pound, number 1. Okay? So, yeah, that's the story. Okay, and then now, some already boxing websites, as I mentioned on my previous live, that uh, Naoya Inoue is their pound for pound number one. Okay? So, we'll see the boxing writers, because aside from Ring Magazine and ESPN and Sports Illustrated, you have to remember these three I mentioned: Ring Magazine, ESPN, and Sports Illustrated. These three are the top three main publications that officially announced as the number one pound for pound and fighter of the year with weight. These three, Ring Magazine, ESPN, and Sports Illustrated, their legitimacy weighs more, okay, comparing to others. But of course, I did not downgrade the others too, like the Sweet Science, many, the Transnational Ranking Boxing Board. Okay, so they will announce it first week of January, next week. Especially the Boxing Writers Association of America. I am excited to watch that one, to see that one, and I will make a video, and we will discuss that one. Okay, as soon as the Boxing Writers Association of America announce their official awarding of the year, trainer of the year, manager of the year, promoter of the year, and so on. All right. So yes. What else? Oh yeah, last night in Japan night, Ayuka, a Japanese future first ballot Hall of Famer, beat Perez. Okay, knockout. So that's the last fight of this entire 2023. If you forgot, there is a title fight, world title fight happened in Japan last night, December 31, night time in Japan. Kazuto Ayuka versus Perez. Okay, that was a world title fight, and Ayuka won by a knockout, and kudos to him, credit. So that's the last fight of the year, and we are awaiting for the Ring Magazine tomorrow and the Sports Illustrated also as well. Tomorrow, January 1, their official announcement for Fighter of the Year, okay? Fighter of the Year. And the Boxing Writers Association of America would release their Fighter of the Year, pound for pound number one, trainer of the year, knockout of the year, prospect of the year, upset of the year, manager of the year, trainer of the year, promoter of the year. Okay? First week of January, if not second week. Okay? And also another facts about boxing, Ricky Hatton already included in the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Ricky the Hitman Hatton already inducted, and the official ceremonial, okay, the ceremony will be held on, as usual, May or June in New York. Okay, Ricky Hatton. So congratulations to Ricky Hatton. So one of the Hall of Famers that is a victim of Pacquiao, and same with Floyd Mayweather Jr. because both Mayweather and Pacquiao beat Ricky Hatton. So yeah. And what else? Yes, for Naoya Inoue, if ever he, after this 2024, he is planning to fight Luis Neri, May, Luis Neri. That is already a 90%. And then September against Murodjon Akhmadaliev. Okay, and then he will fight again, Inoue will fight again December, because he wants to fight three fights this year. Actually, he's supposed to fight 3 fights this 2023, but he got injured. Okay, so hopefully Naoya Inoue will fight 3 fights this 2024, and if ever he beats them all by a knockout, and then there's no doubt, even if the boxing historians or boxing writers are Americans or Westerners, they would really non-biased give it all the accolades, okay? Accolades to Naoya Inoue. And after that, that will be his last fights in the 122 pounds. 3 fights, that's it. In 122, and he will move up in 126 pounds. And I already studied all those champions at 126, and I would say it now that no one in 126 would give a threat. No one is a threat in the 126 pounds against Naoya Inoue. Meaning, Naoya Inoue is expecting or expected to beat those 126 pounds champions. Okay, and I expect him. That is my expectations, and I can say it with 100% convincingly. I am convinced, okay, and I believe that he will beat all the 126 pounds champion, even the Mexican, the tall Mexican that beat Rubisi, Rafael Rafael Espinosa, who beat Rubisi. The Rubisi was a gold medalist. He was a gold medalist. Okay, in the Olympics. But this Mexican volume puncher, a tall and lanky, volume puncher from Mexico beat, and Naoya Inoue will beat that Mexican WBO 126 pounds. For that reason that he is wide open. He is a volume puncher, yes, but his defense is poor. His defense is poor. And if you are defending yourself like this, my word to say is doom. If you are fighting Naoya Inoue and you are doing like this, that fighter or boxer against Naoya Inoue is doomed. You cannot do that to Inoue. Just covering like this. You will be receiving a lot of body shots. And even you are covering his straight, his lead straight, right straight, the impact will go beyond that cover, beyond your gloves. That's how it is. That's the style of Naoya Inoue. I already evaluate and analyze his fighting styles. I know him well, even though from television, from computers. I studied his fighting style from his pro debut until now against Marlon Tapales. I know his weakness if he has. Same with Terence Crawford. Okay. I know their weaknesses, their bad habits. And yes, I almost forgot. I heard that 130 pounds uh, fighter Mark Magnifico Magsayo, a Filipino fighter, a former world champion. Give credit to Mark Magsayo, and I want him to be a champion. Okay, Mark Magsayo, I wish you all the best in life, and I want you to be a champion at 130. Okay, because I want you to fight Naoya Inoue maybe 2 or 3, let's say 3 years from now, when Naoya Inoue already moving up and with that 130 pounds. I want you that moment to be a champion so that Naoya Inoue can fight in your title. Okay, and I want to see that one. I'm excited to see that fight. It will be an exciting fight, an entertaining fight, and until it finish. Until it finish. Again, no one will beat Naoya Inoue at 126 pounds. No. Nobody can beat Inoue at 126 pounds. In a 130 pounds, that will be an exciting and entertaining fight. And I cannot wait. I will be patiently waiting. There you go. I will patiently waiting for that fight. Okay, and Mark Magsayo to be a champion once again. I want him to earn as what or as bigger as what Marlon Tapales earned when he fought Naoya Inoue. I want Mark Magsayo to feel that limelight, okay? The glamour, okay, there you go, that word. The glamour fighting a pound for pound champion Fighter of the Year, awardee, a face of boxing, a pound for pound king, something like that. Okay, an undisputed champion. Okay, and aside from a big money fight. All right, so best wishes for you, champ Mark Magsayo. Okay, I wish him you all the best in life. And for Naoya Inoue, yes, he deserves to be Fighter of the Year 2023. And of course, he deserves, is worthy to be named as number one pound for pound best fighter in the world. Okay? And Terence Crawford should not be hurt. Okay? He should not be hurt or felt sad if Naoya Inoue overtakes him, because the guy deserves it. Naoya Inoue, the monster of Japan, deserves to be the number one pound for pound best fighter in the world, and deserves to be the fighter of the year 2023. All right? Again, thank you for watching, and blessings to you all. Okay? Happy New Year to you and to your families as well. Be safe and stay healthy. Hua. Army strong.